I didn't like the Pittsburgh look. I didn't like it because I didn't think it was my best. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can bring. That's not what I like to bring to the stage.
Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got something pretty interesting, I would say. So if you guys remember on that podcast that Kyle Wilkes did where he talked about parting ways with Nick Walker, he said something pretty interesting. He said that when Nick called him to end things, he also told him that he didn't really like the Pittsburgh look, which was unarguably pretty much Nick Walker's best look of all time, and Kyle was pretty much pissed about that.
When there was a comment made on the call regarding the fact that he did not like how he looked at Pittsburgh, to me, I don't even have words for that. You might never look better than that, if I'm being completely honest, and that was the closest you got to beating the best bodybuilder on the planet right now, right? Derek. So it's just
Alright, so obviously Kyle Wilkes did not agree with that. He was mad that Nick said that because he was obviously very proud with Nick's look. And yes, Nick almost beat Derek Lunsford, the best bodybuilder in the world, with that look, but Nick did not like it for some reason. And in this video, we'll get a little bit more deep into that. So today on Instagram, Nick posted a little video in which he talks about his favorite looks. Check it out.
So what do you feel your best looks ever were?
So I when it comes to look for shows, I truly believe my favorite looks, which I think are my best looks, were the 2021 Arnold Classic. I just thought that, for me, that was my number one. I was dry, hard, very grainy, and full. It was like, as soon as I walked out for that show, lights out. Like it was game over. As soon as I walked out, everyone knew, oh, that's it. And I just thought the peak was perfected. Everything was nails for that specific show. And I would say my second favorite was probably Olympia 2022. I don't think I was as conditioned, per se, as the 2020 Olympia, or the 21 Arnold, I'm sorry. But I was very lean enough, but I was so full. Like it was just like, it was an undeniable type of full.
Cool.
But still very dry.
Yeah. I love it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I actually really did like my Arnold look that I lost to Samson. That was probably my leanest and driest. I still think I was full to me, just maybe not as full as I normally am, which is why it didn't seem like I had like that Nick Walker pop. But I was still pretty full, but I was just so lean for that, dude. It was insanity.
Alright, now obviously he got a lot of negative comments for saying this. For example, this one, Pittsburgh was your best look, of course. Bro, your best look is Pittsburgh. You almost beat the best bodybuilder in the world. Pittsburgh look was goated. Sad to watch this unfold. Not the look that tied and had the internet saying you beat Mr. Olympia. Wild. Now, if we go back to 2021, you gotta admit, guys, that look was really freaking good. In my opinion as well, that potentially was the best Nick Walker ever, mainly because his midsection was still very good at that time. I don't think his midsection ever looked better than on that show. His abs were tight, they were super separated, super hard. There was almost zero diastasis happening in the middle, so his midsection looked perfect, and his bubble gut was pretty much non-existent at that show. He controlled his midsection really well. Also, his overall peak and polish, his condition and fullness, and just the overall peak he brought to this show was really good. I am not necessarily saying that this is better than Pittsburgh, but, even though he was smaller at this show, it's not like he was small. He was still a massive bodybuilder. I would say that he wasn't as complete as he is today. His back didn't look as good as it did in Pittsburgh. He most certainly added a whole bunch of size to that back. His back double bicep at the Pittsburgh Pro was one of the best back double biceps of all time, literally. Better than Derek's even, for sure. But at the Arnold, it still wasn't at that level of development. Same thing with his back lat spread, and he improved that recently. Up until recently, his back lat spread was pretty bad. Now he learned how to open up better, and he added more size to the back as well. And I think his conditioning in the lower body from behind was better this year than at the Arnold Classic that year. So yes, I would say overall the polish and the midsection control were better. Still, this right here, his back at this show and his overall size and the freak factor were probably enough for me to say that his Pittsburgh Pro look was still the best, but I'm not sure. I mean, that Arnold Classic look was also phenomenal. So even though Nick received a lot of hate for saying this, I don't know if he's actually wrong. You know, his Pittsburgh Pro look might be the best, but that's because he progressed in the meantime. There has been 4 years between the Arnold Classic and the Pittsburgh Pro, so he made more gains. He's a bigger bodybuilder now, but as far as nailing the look, nailing the peak, yeah, that Arnold Classic peak may have actually been better. Now, between his 2021 Arnold Classic look and his 2022 Mr. Olympia look, personally, I always preferred the Mr. Olympia look because even though he wasn't as lean, he was just blasting full, man. And I really like when Nick is full. I think he needs to be super full to look his absolute best. And at the 2022 Mr. Olympia, he was super full, he was lean enough, he wasn't super shredded, but he was lean enough. And also at that time, his midsection was still under control. It still looked good. Yes, his waist was big and his midsection took a lot of space, but the abs looked great. There was no bubble gut at that moment. I mean, it was controllable at least. The way he was hitting the front double, I loved it here. The abs looked crazy, thick, really prominent, and the size of this guy was crazy at Mr. Olympia. He took that 3rd spot that year. That was his best result. So, in my opinion, that was his best look up to that moment. Now, he also mentions the 2023 Arnold Classic, and I remember when he lost that show to Samson Dauda, he still loved the look. Everybody was telling him that he was flat. He didn't want to accept that. He believed that he was on. He thought he was robbed. At one point later, he started accepting that he was actually flat. But yes, that was his best condition of all time. And from this, I'm getting that Nick is a conditioning freak. I mean, he's obviously a size freak as well, but he wants to be super, super shredded. And for some reason, he doesn't really deliver that very often. When he does, for example, right here at the Arnold Classic, he loses the fullness. So for him, it's very important to find that perfect balance of size and fullness. He needs to be blasting full and super big because that's who he is. He's a monster guy, a monster bodybuilder. And if he can bring the conditioning with that, which he usually does, then he looks great. So I understand why he's not super happy with Pittsburgh. And that's because he really appreciates good conditioning and he feels like at Pittsburgh, he could have been leaner. And now let's hear the other part where he talks about why he said to Kyle that he doesn't like the Pittsburgh look.
And when people, I guess, hear that I didn't like the Pittsburgh look, I didn't like it because I didn't think it was my best. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can bring. And that look was good, don't get me wrong, but I could have been leaner, I could have been drier, I could have been harder, and I also probably could have been a little fuller, which is why I think we kind of lost it at night because we faded pretty hard, in my opinion. So that's just the way I look at it. I don't like to look in the past because every prep is different, but the end result should always be the same to a degree with improvements. And for me, that's not what it was. That's not what I like to bring to the stage. I know everyone thought it was a wow show, but like if you really go back and look at those packages, that's the look I need to bring with the added size that I have now.
This wasn't a good peak. This wasn't conditioned enough, full enough. This was flat and not conditioned. Come on, Nick. This was actually a very, very good peak for sure. Could have he been leaner and fuller? Who knows? Maybe. I guess Nick is a perfectionist and he wants to be always better and he thought he could have been better here. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he could have been better, but honestly, this was his best look. I mean, as far as the peak, it's his problem that he wasn't able to control the midsection. That's a posing thing, I would say. And also, like with the added size, that happens. The midsection gets a little bit worse. So that was really the only problem with this look and the reason why he didn't win that show. But really, peak-wise, he was good, man. He was good. Like, again, could have he been leaner and fuller? Well, I guess so. You can always be better. But to say that this wasn't a good look, to say that Arnold Classic was so much better than this, or the Mr. Olympia 22, that's definitely a stretch. That's definitely a stretch. This is a good look, the Pittsburgh Pro. If he replicated this look for the Mr. Olympia, he could have been in top 3 or top 2, I think. Now, do I think that the reason why he's saying this is because he parted ways with Kyle and he doesn't want to give him the credit for this show? I don't think so, guys. That's what the comments are saying, but I don't think so personally. I think it's just Nick who always wants to be better and he thought he could have been even better at the Pittsburgh. Could any coach have brought a better look out of Nick at that show? Was it possible, really, at that moment? We will never know. Maybe it was, but what Kyle brought out of Nick for that show was spot on. It was a good pick. Everybody's mind was blown that day. We all loved that look, and for some reason, Nick doesn't see it that way. I'm curious to hear, what do you guys think? What was Nick's best look, and do you think Pittsburgh Pro was a good pick or not? Whatever you think, guys, down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more bodybuilding content like this. See you soon, guys. All the best, and bye-bye.